Joining me now to discuss the president's executive orders on border security, on sanctuary cities, and much more is Kellyanne Conway, White House counselor to the president. Kellyanne, great to have you with us. And I have to say, your administration, this is a presidency that is moving at breakneck speed, as I said at the outset.
Yes.
I don't think anyone's seen the like of this, certainly in modern history. Is this tempo going to continue, first of all?
Yes, it is. Lou, it is a spectacular day here at the White House with President Trump making good on his campaign promises, particularly when it comes to immigration, which he very boldly and consistently made a centerpiece of his campaign against a hail of criticism from every corner, including in his own party sometime. And why did he do it? Because he wants to put America first. And when you look at these two executive orders about constructing that physical wall on the southern border, allowing the tools and resources to be given to our brave men and women in uniform and law enforcement, those agents across the border, expanding the detention area so that when illegals are caught, we don't have this catch and release program. We have this catch and deal with program. It really is just such an exciting day here. And then, of course, the sanctuary cities. I think Kate Steinle is a household name across this country because of people like you and Donald Trump. And thank you for that. People know no good comes out of harboring illegals who have been deported time and time again, some of whom have committed crimes in these sanctuary cities, putting others at risk. It's such an exciting day here, but the pace and the tempo is all Donald Trump. People saw that during the campaign, and now as president, he's continued doing it. My big joke around here is that everything in Trump world happens according to dog years. You have to multiply it by 7. And there's no end in sight to this incredible pace and excitement. He's not just changing the tone here in Washington, he's changing the content and the fluidity.
And I think, frankly, the national left-wing media in particular is taken aback watching them in the White House briefing room. Those are people searching for questions and trying, apparently, not to repeat one another, but sort of clucking about some of the orders, particularly, for example, building the wall, asking, well, you're going to have Mexico pay for that. Focused on that part of the question rather than the reality that the President of the United States has signed an order saying move ahead with a wall. It's really something to watch.
I noticed two things with the mainstream media here, Lou, that maybe doesn't get a lot of coverage. Number one is even those who have been against the president are giving a great deal of grudging respect for him keeping all of these promises and doing things very quickly as he said he would. Number two, they're trying to get really steeped in some policies that maybe people didn't pay much attention to during the campaign. They figured, hey, typical politicians make campaign promises. I don't need to learn the policies. Now everybody has to do their homework and play catch up because there are very specific measures here. You know, typical politicians make promises during a campaign. Businessmen who deliver and are held accountable and produce results and are master negotiators and consensus builders and connectors and communicators like Donald Trump, they don't make promises, they put forth plans. And it's just a matter of him executing the plan now. Look, the public is responding, Lou, after all the mainstream media calling his inaugural address dark and gloomy and spooky and foreboding. It looks to me like in the Morning Consult poll this morning, 65% of Americans say they like the America First theme, and 51% said that Donald Trump's speech was, quote, optimistic. They're giving him a chance.
Yeah, and those who find darkness in this explosion of light in Washington, D.C. Have to be in a far corner of the left, I think, to be making that, coming to that conclusion. A couple of things to take up very quickly, if I may, and that is the president will meet with Pena Nieto next Tuesday. The Mexican government has said that they will withdraw from NAFTA if payment is demanded for the wall, which they say they will not pay for. And it seems like we're watching a very adolescent response on a government that really doesn't seem to understand that President Trump is asking for a mature and responsible relationship between the two governments and shared responsibility for the security of that mutual border. No more than that, really.
Yes, and Donald Trump, as candidate, as president-elect, and now as president of the United States, Lou, has never changed his tune on that. He's been very consistent, so I think he leaves no doubt as to what his position is on behalf of our country. We're very happy the Mexican officials are coming here. That's productive. Certainly Donald Trump as a candidate went to Mexico when he was invited. Hillary Clinton rebuffed the invitation, as you'll recall. And it was a big moment. But remember what candidate Trump did that day. He went and met with the Mexican president, and then he flew right to Arizona and delivered a barn burner of a 10-point immigration plan, much of which he's trying to implement now. So we're glad they're coming here to have a conversation. As Donald Trump said in his inaugural address, Lou, that we have spent billions of dollars in this nation protecting other countries' sovereignty and their borders. It's high time we do that for our own people. And that message will be the same whether he's delivering it to you and me and the rest of America, or he's delivering it to the Mexican officials.
And as we wrap up here, Kellyanne, are you confident on this very day that the president will win all of his nominees their confirmation?
He should, because they're incredibly qualified men and women who are willing to serve their nation at the highest levels. We don't detect much trouble for any of them. Some of them have their votes delayed. Some of them are being asked for additional paperwork. That's fine. That's the democratic process. But we hope the objections to them are legitimate and are substantive and not just some political show designed to humiliate any of them. The cabinet that has been approved so far is really just remarkable. You saw him today swear in General Kelly as the head of Department of Homeland Security, a very important department to this president, given everything he wants to tackle. And we really hope that these numbers start to pick up, because it's nowhere near what the Senate did for President George W. Bush, President Barack Obama. The numbers are really lagging behind. We have great confidence in our nominees, and we have confidence that the Senate will allow this president to have his full cabinet in place very soon.
And Kellyanne, we should take note also that Mayor Rahm Emanuel of Chicago, a mayor who has utterly failed to protect his people and to come up with a solution to rampant violence, record homicides last year and shootings, and by the way, on pace this year to do even worse, has accepted the president's offer of help to eliminate the violence in that great city and to bring law and order. So I think that a lot of people who might be considering those votes right now are watching this president again prevail on a very important issue, one that's important to all of the people of this country.
It is. It is, and I think there have been over 1,000 shootings in 2016, 762 murders in Chicago, and 2017, as you note, is already on pace to keep track with that crime wave. This is what Donald Trump meant in his inaugural address as president, Lou, when he said American carnage. When he talks about the drugs and the violence and the gangs, you don't need look no further than Chicago. We're glad that the Democratic mayor and former chief of staff right here at the White House under President Obama, Rahm Emanuel, has accepted the president's help. I think what leaders do, and President Trump is a natural leader, what leaders do is they don't look at the party affiliation of the mayor. They don't look at the way that the state or the city voted in this last presidential election. They give voice and visibility to problems that are wrecking our inner cities. And he's made very clear he will be president to all Americans. I think going and helping in Chicago is a great place to start.